We have the history that famines have consequences. The revolution in Europe in the 1700s. We also have glaring evidence that our food supply globally is under threat. That's why the president sent all of that grain last week in that speech, sent all of that grain from us to Egypt. We even have Al Gore. I mean, if you listen to Al Gore, oh, it's our SUVs, and they're all going to, okay. But we also have our own government adding to this. Flooding, blowing up the levees and burning of our corn for fuel. So we have that as well. Then we have inflation due to what our government is doing there, which causes food prices to go up. He doesn't have a crazy dream about fat and skinny cows. The president doesn't have this. He just has all of the experts in the world saying that it's coming. But what's the difference between the two besides one didn't have the crazy dream? Pharaoh actually acted on this. What was the very first thing that the Pharaoh did when the guy with vomit on him said, I gotta tell you, I know what it is? What happened? When Joseph explained it, Pharaoh said, that is exactly right. You know what? You're in charge. You're going to store all the food. Okay? He started storing food. Now, can you imagine? I mean, it was the Pharaoh, so, I mean, if you complained, I guess he could have just thrown you in between. I saw the movie. So, wait, that's an old woman between the... So there's not a lot of complaining there, but people had to have said, I mean, what is he doing? There's plenty of food going around. I mean, again, we're living like Americans, you know what I'm saying? Can't happen to Egypt. Pharaoh, why are you hoarding it all? Because you had a crazy acid trip and dreams about fat and skinny cows? That was based on a dream and the interpretation from a guy who you dragged out of a prison cell. But the Pharaoh believed it. And even as evil as he was, he acted either to save his own throne or to save his people by storing up food. He knew famines happen and famines have consequences. Store up food. So with all of the signs that are pointing towards access to food becoming more difficult, what is our president and his minions doing? They're not only ignoring all of the warning signs, failing to tell people to prepare, but they also take it a step further and they mock those who are preparing. Is anyone mocking the people in Joplin, Missouri, who are walking around today handing out maybe extra water bottles that they had, or using extra food to help feed neighbors? I contend if the president and this administration, if they're not worried about extremists in the Middle East. I mean, they don't even think they're existing. They're not warning about a coming economic and food shortage problem. They're not worried about our border. They're not worried about anything, really. What is it that they are warning you about? I'm not kidding you. This is the CDC website. A zombie attack. Preparedness 101, zombie apocalypse. I don't know if we can wear our superhero unemployment capes while we're fighting the zombies, but if the zombies showed up, government's going to be prepared. So we're prepared for zombies. We're also prepared for the fundamental transformation of the financial system. We're prepared for new financial regulations. We're prepared, believe it or not, for the 2012 election. You bet they are, where all the old evil Republicans are wheeling old ladies off of a cliff. But do you believe or feel as though we are prepared for any kind of food shortage? Is there anyone that is talking about famines happen, even if it's not here? What will it do to your food cost? Is anyone saying, you know, guys, just let's be like our grandparents. Let's have some extra food on the shelves. Is anybody really prepared for unemployment? Is anybody prepared for, what does he say, the energy prices will necessarily skyrocket? How about civil unrest? We've got the left planning it. We've shown it to you on this program. Are we prepared? By the way, on a completely unrelated note, the president brushed off the War Powers Act deadline expiring because he said the Libyan military mission doesn't apply to that. Excuse me? If you look at every action from this administration, from that War Powers Act to everything he's done, including the speech slamming Israel, our only stable ally in the Middle East, and then lifting up the guy in Tunisia who set himself on fire as the equivalent to Rosa Parks. You have to ask yourself, is this president and this administration, are their actions stabilizing us or destabilizing us? You're going to have to decide that, but the answer to me seems pretty clear. And as things become more unstable around the world, we should move to be more prepared. If the government doesn't do it, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see a town that is so prepared that when the FEMA trucks come in because something like this happened, they stand and say, excuse me, turn your cars around. We don't need you. Thank you. If you're more prepared, what's the worst that can happen? You're prepared and nothing happens, great, everybody wins. I'm not sure anymore why that's mocked other than a pure political agenda, and a dangerous one at that. Learn from history. Be self-reliant. A flood is coming, a volcano could hit, a tornado, a financial tsunami, or just a simple job loss of you or your neighbor. Why wouldn't you want to be prepared? Why wouldn't you want to build a dike around your house? Why wouldn't you want to be the person that can go and help someone else if they are struggling? And if you can't answer that question, then I ask you to follow the money. And ask yourself, if the hedge fund managers, the ones who, according to the White House, are so powerful, they're manipulating money, but so powerful that no one will even bring up regulating that market, if those guys are buying up farmland with water on it because what they see is coming, if they're not ignoring it, but you are, you have to ask yourself, why? And which one am I when the storm comes? The one comforting people or the one screaming in panic? Back in a minute.
Still on camera.
On Friday morning, I announced a date for my trip to Jerusalem for Restoring Courage. It is 8/24, August 24th. It will be at the southern steps of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. And there'll be two other events happening that week between the 21st and 24th. It is truly going to be I think, a life-altering week. And if you'd like to go, or if you'd like to organize an event, kind of like we did on the 912 Project where people got together, please go to glennbeck.com for all of the details. Do that now. It's right around the corner. Now, you're never going to believe this, but people in Egypt are still really hacked off, which is so weird because everybody in the media said, oh, the Arab Spring, it's coming through, and now the Egyptians are going to frolic around in the plush fields of freedom. It's going to be great. Yeah, no, didn't happen. Now there's a new revolution that is just beginning in Egypt. They are mad, apparently, at all of the people at Facebook and Google because nothing is better. In fact, in many ways, it's worse. Now, that's quite a shocker, except, you know, to everybody in this audience, some historians and people without a political agenda, but who's counting here? I'd like you to look towards the future a little bit, and I want you to play a little game called Thinking It Through and see how this ends for America. Let's say you're a person in Egypt, and you believed that the revolution was all natural, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm on the internet. And then it starts to happen. And then Facebook and guys from Google's, they all start standing up and going, we created this whole thing. And then the President of the United States gives them credit and encourages more revolutions that lead to the same crappy situation that they're in. Oh, and then he goes and he hires some of those guys and puts them in. And then I know. Then we learned through WikiLeaks that the White House was helping direct it from behind the scenes. Okay, so now here you are. You thought you were in control of your life, and you hated the American administration in the first place, and now you're worse off than you were before. How much more do you love America? Huh? Come on, give me a big hug. They already loved us so much before.
Because we are hate you. We hate American.
You hate us?
Yes, I hate you, and I hate you.
Why do you hate us?
You are not good person. Go to any place more, please. Go to any place with us. You are not with us.
Okay, I was always hoping that he just meant that they don't hate us, but I think he means hate. What could possibly go wrong now? May I go back to the original board that was relentlessly mocked by the media? And now that everybody's just ignoring the fact that they were completely wrong. You should look at this board because it shows the future. I said at the time they would work against Israel. I said that it would spill over into Europe. And the pipe-smoking elitists said, no, 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 don't listen to that man, it's poppycock. Europeans are so much more civilized, you know? Yeah. Has anybody in the media bothered to check on the protests in Spain? If you remember the map, I specifically pointed out Spain so long ago. Watch. There I am, caliphate, and I was made fun relentlessly. Oh, gee, no, you can't do that. It's odd, because here they are in revolution in Spain, and there's me saying that and being mocked. Tens of thousands in the street. Something extremely uncommon in Spain. 21% unemployment. That's what's really starting to do it. I'm sure it didn't take a lot of arm twisting from the union thugs to get them into the streets. Greece now is 2 months away from running out of cash, and the protest this weekend started to move to Italy, where Italian revolution is a trend on Twitter. Greece, Italy, and Spain. By the way, just after the uprisings in Tunisia, we warned you 5,000 Tunisian refugees fled in boats to Italy. Then this weekend, I saw a piece on Bloomberg, where Neil Ferguson, a historian and economist, said this about Europe. Listen carefully.
The Eurozone has become a kind of government-killing machine, and that most governments right now who have been incumbent over the years of the financial crisis are being punished.
Yeah, listen to the whole thing, because it's spooky. It is what I wrote on this board, that it would sweep the Middle East, it would destabilize Europe, and then the rest of the world. The governments are becoming government-eating machines. I believe that's why the president made his suggestions on Israel. I think that's why he is moving in the way he is. He has suggested people get more involved in the Arab uprisings, which are clearly not in the people's best interests. Not that Mubarak was, but that wasn't a good solution. The movement to fundamentally transform the world must destroy everything. It must make everything ungovernable. It must eat the current governments. Are these things all happenstance? Are they all coincidence that they're all happening? And how the hell did I get that right? How? What role do you and me, what do we play in the chaos and the things that this next president, if it is him, can he fix it? Can the next president do it? Or is this bigger? Is this bigger than the 2012 election? And if it is, what's the answer? Coming up. To fundamentally transform a country, you have to fundamentally transform its people. So what kind of people are we? In times of crisis, we usually tend to find out. We had such a crisis when a massive tornado hit Joplin, Missouri this weekend, a tornado that destroyed much of the town. It has now killed 116 people. I want to show you again what we showed you at the top of the hour. Amazing video taken from a group of people that took refuge in a walk-in freezer. Because of the storm, you can't see the video, but the audio is clear. Isaac Duncan from Joplin posted this on his YouTube account. I want you to listen carefully.
Is
it people screaming?
I love you. Jesus. Heavenly Father.
Now, some people were screaming. Others were calling out for Jesus. Some were taking control of the situation, calm everybody down. I like the guy who sounded like, you know, every night at my house when I was a drunk, I love you, man. I just love all you guys.